Hello and welcome to this masterclass number 4 around Lemurians, inner earth beings, and 7th dimensional light infusion. This class has been pre-recorded many times over, and I just wanted to put some amendments in here for you because there's some things that have changed throughout the times since I've been doing this. When I first started running this class, I did it in the masterclass series, and I decided to open this up as a free class for everybody to come, and especially if you like to attend the 7th dimensional light infusion circles, so that you can get a little bit more information as to how this all came about. And it's just like a really in-depth informational video that can catch you up as far as like what we're doing when we do the 7th dimensional light infusion circles. Now in this video you will see, because I pre-recorded it, and I used to call the circle Lemurian Pleiadian Starseed Circle, and now it's called 7th dimensional light infusion circle. And then there's also information in here about you getting a free ticket to come to the circles. That no longer even happens because all of the 7th dimensional light infusion circles are free to join, and they change throughout the year. I don't do them once a month anymore. I used to do them in 21 and 22 I did them, and 23 I did do monthly 7th dimensional light infusion circles. But in 2024, I changed that, and I'm only doing them 4 times a year during the equinoxes and the solstices. So if you'd like to attend one of those circles, all you need to do is click onto my email and let me know, or go into the website here, and you will get information as far as when these circles will be happening throughout the future. And you can come to them anytime you wish, because they will be free and open to anybody to come. So I hope you enjoy this class and get a lot of information out of it. I decided to make this free for everybody, and it was originally one of the masterclass classes that I did in the series, and so I've just got to include it here, and there's no purchase necessary. This is complimentary and free for you to view. Hello, and welcome to the 7th Dimensional Light Infusion class. This class is all about what we do in the Lemurian Pleiadian Starseed Circle. And so I'm going to be touching on a couple of things during this class. First of all, I'm going to tell you all about how it came about, how I started doing this in my life. I'm going to touch on Lemuria. We're going to learn about all the different things about Lemuria that I've channeled through, and the evolution of Lemurian beings. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the inner earth beings and the inner earth cities of light. And then I'm going to talk all about the 7th dimensional light infusion that we run every time we do a circle. So let's get started. So I first want to just tell you a little bit of a backstory about how I started running 7th dimensional light infusion, and why I've been doing it and how it all happened. So I have a couple stories around this. The first story happened back in 2018 when I had my first QHHT session. And in the session, I was connected to my higher self, and I was told about what I would be doing as my life's purpose, what I would be doing. And part of it was my artwork and the light-coded artworks that I create. But the other part was working with crystals and using the crystals in a different way than what I had been using the crystals before. I had always been a crystal lover, so I was being told something about Lemurian crystals in there, and that I would be working with them, and that I was an activator, and I would be activating people to start shining their light out into the world. And so when I was doing that, I had been told that I had this aspect. Her name is Alana, and she was a high priestess back in the times of Lemuria. And she had placed some codes into a specific Lemurian crystal that was meant to help me kind of like get all my Akashic records, remember what my life was like in Lemuria. And at the time I didn't know, but it was going to, this crystal that I was going to be acquiring would help me do the work that I'm doing today, which is with the 7th Dimensional Light Infusion. And it had all of this is what they did back in the times of Lemuria. And so after my QHHT session, I kind of like told me like there was something going on that I was going to be inquiring this Lemurian crystal. Now I started kind of searching for Lemurian crystals and I couldn't find them anywhere. And I just so happened to come upon some. There was a lady that was here in Ireland that was running a Lemurian healing course. And it was like a workshop. It was like a one-day workshop. So I decided to go to this class because I wanted to learn a little bit more about the way that the Lemurians worked back in the times of Lemuria. And there wasn't a lot of information about Lemuria. I'd been trying to find out information about it, but like there was very little information about Lemuria. And so I had been searching for these crystals, and the first crystal I got was this one, and I was like searching for this like special crystal that was for me. And so I got this one, but didn't seem to be doing anything. And then I went back to the store and I bought this one and this one, and it didn't seem to be really doing anything. I was like acquiring, I didn't seem to be doing what I was being told that this crystal would do. And so then I found this one. I ended up buying this one at a different place. And so I had like a few of these crystals, and I went to the workshop and I learned how to do some work with the Lemurian crystals. And so afterwards I had started doing like a group where I would have a few of my friends coming in, maybe run once a month or so, and we would start running this energy. And at the time I thought that it was the crystals doing the healing, and that I thought it was like we were connecting to the Lemurians, and we were running the energy from the Lemurians, were running it to us. And but then after time had gone on, I learned that it wasn't the crystals that were doing it. It was the crystals were amplifying the energy, and it wasn't really coming from the Lemurians. It was coming from this 7th dimensional light infusion, which was coming from the 7th dimension, the divine light. And so I was like, okay. And then after that, after I started like running these groups and I was doing this, it came to like 2019, and I went back to New York, and I was doing some grid work with the Indara project back in New York. And before I left from Ireland, my guides told me, there's some people that are going to be doing this work with you, and they gave me 5 people, and one was my friend Amy, who lived back in New York. That she was my childhood friend that I grew up with. And so Amy said she'd come and everything. And when we got there, they told me that I would be doing some Lemurian healing work with Amy. And I had already been doing some, I had done a couple times with her already online. And so they told me like we were going to do some Lemurian work together. And I thought I had to bring these crystals with me. So I brought all of these crystals, and everything I could find, and I packed them with me, and I took them with me over to the States on the airplane so that I could do this Lemurian work with my friend Amy. And I was there for, I think, 8 days. And when I met up with Amy, it was like we couldn't ever find a time to do this Lemurian work because she was busy at work and everything. And so she could only show up during the one Sunday when we were doing this activation of this portal over in New York. And so she came and everybody was there. We had all of us were there, and we were doing kind of like, everybody was like crystal lovers. So we were all showing off our little crystal stashes and stuff. And we were white lighting each other. We were using the sage and we were saging each other, getting all ready and prepared. And everybody was kind of giddy, and we were just all kind of really excited about being there. And everybody was passing around, and she was showing her crystals to other people, and I was showing mine to other people and all this. And then she got around to me, and she started showing me this crystal, and I was like, oh my goodness, that is so beautiful. I'm like, where did you get this? And she said, my aunt owns a crystal shop, and so I got it from my aunt. And I was like, I need to go to the crystal shop before I leave, before I go back to Ireland, so I can get myself one of these. And she said, you can't, because my aunt is actually on vacation and she's going to be gone for another 2 or 3 weeks. And so the shop is closed. And I was like, oh, darn. And then she kind of like walked away for a little bit. And then she came back to me and she said, I'm told that this belongs to you. And she hands me this crystal, this Lemurian seed crystal. And as soon as she handed it to me, I held onto it, and all the way up while we were climbing these steps there was like thousands of steps we had to climb, and this big hill and everything. I was feeling it, and I was like almost like crying inside, because I was realizing that this is the crystal that I encoded back in the times of Lemuria when I was Alana, and that this held all of my Akashic records in it. And so I was like, whoa. And I actually brought this back with me, and I held it. I actually kept it with me, and I held it the whole time while I was on the plane. I didn't let go with it. And I started using it and started just being with it and things like that. And a few weeks after I acquired this crystal, I was having one of those days. You know, the days where you just don't want to be here anymore. I was getting tired of all the denseness that was happening around me. And of course, I'm an activator. And so I am going to be around a lot of people that are kind of dense. And I feel kind of lonely sometimes, and feel kind of like the only one that's like at the vibration that I'm at. And I was having one of those days where I was like, I don't want to do this work anymore, because like it's so lonely and I just don't want to be here. And so I went for a swim, which is what I do when I'm feeling bad. I go for my swim, and then I went into the steam room, and there was nobody there at the swimming pool that day. And I had this place all to myself, and I was in one of those moods where I was like at the bawling, crying, ugly cry type days, where I was having a really, really hard time. It was after I had basically gone through, my husband had had a stroke, my father was not doing well, and I was like over New York. I was at the hospital with my husband. It was just too much, you know what I mean? And I wasn't taking care of myself, and I wasn't doing my normal routines, and I wasn't doing my meditation, wasn't doing my connecting with my guides or anything like that. And so I was just literally, I had nothing to help me cope. I was like, my coping mechanism was gone. And so I just kind of I was trying to compose myself, and I started rubbing the crystal. Now at the time there was like a little notch on my crystal. It's right around here. I started rubbing my crystal. And there was like a little piece that used to stick out, but it's not there anymore. But at the time I knew because there's this piece that was stuck out. So that was where I was rubbing it, because I kept feeling this. And I was in the steam room, and the steam room was dark, you know, like what, purple lights or something like that in there. And so I was rubbing this, and I was just begging, I just want to go home. You know, like I just want to go to the place where I feel like I'm at home. And I haven't felt like that in a very long time. And so I start rubbing, and all of a sudden in my third eye, I see this like purple tunnel. And I hear this voice saying, go down the tunnel. And so I went down the tunnel, and I found myself in the inner earth city of light. And all of my guides were there. Every single bit of my guides, and like elementals and angels, and there was like these beings that I had known because through my QHHT that were called the Council of Nine, which were part of my oversoul. They were there. There was there was Merlin and Metatron, all of them. Everybody was there. Even these like tree people. I'm going to move my head for a second. You can see in here. See the fella in the back? That's, I call him Jeff. He used to actually have legs, but the legs broke. He's made out of ceramic, and he was 3 foot tall, but now he's sitting back there, and his name is Jeff. And so these tree people, like my guides, I call them the tree people. I don't know who they are, but they're part of my guide system. And so I just felt so loved and so encompassed. And that's the day that I realized that the Council of Nine, because I was trying to figure out where this Council of Nine was from, and I was being told that they're not from a planet, like they're not from a place, and they're like a council that is like, I don't know where. And I realized that they're the inner earth people. And so that I realized like this Council of Nine is part of the inner earth people, because I saw them and I knew what they looked like. And they're like tall blue beings, and they have like very like long fingers. And they came to me when I had this acupuncture treatment when my nerve damage went away. And I have that story that's in another class. And so they took me over to this pyramid-shaped, clear-looking building. And they helped me step inside, and they said, this is your healing chamber. This is an inner earth etheric healing chamber, and your etheric body basically is going in here. It was my etheric body that was there, not my actual physical body. And there was a crystal bed inside of there, and they basically just said, lay in the bed and we will start infusing you with this 7th dimensional light infusion. And I just laid in the bed, and I just felt so much love. And I just felt so much like I was at home. And this light infusion was filtering down over me. And then at one point the light turned like blue. I think I needed blue that day. It was like telling me like blue has something to do with your, you know, learning the truth, speaking your truth. And it has something to do with the throat chakra. I was very upset. So like it was coming in, and they were in that, and all this like blue light was being like all over me inside of there. And when it was time for me to leave, they told me that whenever you want to come back, because they said, as long as you keep doing what you came here to do, you came here to be an activator, you came here for the Earth's ascension to help wake up as many people as possible. If you keep doing your end of the deal, we will give you times in here to have little respites, so I could actually have like time where I felt like totally and completely at home in that high vibration that my body seeks, because it's just the only way where I feel like where I belong. Because I definitely don't belong. I do not feel like I belong in the earth. I definitely, it's just, I don't resonate, and I'm always kind of like feeling very alone and feeling very much like I've got like 5 heads on me. When people are looking at me, they don't get me. And so that is the story about what happened. And they told me that I could come back anytime I wanted to get rejuvenated and all of that. So since that time, I was starting to use my crystal more. I have it with me a lot. I would have it with me when I'm swimming, and I have this crystal with me just about all the time. And the crystal started glowing at different times when I'd be working with it. And like right here, oh, I forgot to tell you that in where I was rubbing, there happened to be a pyramid, and then you can see the pyramid that's inside the crystal, and there happened to be a pyramid inside of there. And I saw that afterwards when I was in the water cooling down. I saw that there was actually a pyramid. And so this pyramid was always in here. It was that's part of the codes to show me where my healing chamber was, to remind me where to go when I need that little bit of love, that little bit of respite. And so then after that, I started connecting to this inner earth healing chamber regularly and ran 7th dimensional light infusion. And after a little while went on and I was feeling so much better, I started doing this in my private sessions where I would take people to their healing chamber and run the 7th dimensional light infusion and help them be able to access their healing chamber so that they could do it themselves as well. And so that's how it all started. And then last year, back in, I shouldn't say last year now, because like, I guess it was in 2022, we'll talk about, because you never know what year you're going to be watching this. In 2022, I was doing this masterclass series, and they said, okay, your next class, it would be the 4th class, which it was in April, I think. It's time for you, because they were telling me the world wasn't ready. The world wasn't ready for this information. The world wasn't ready. The world wasn't ready. And I was like sitting back and I was just running the light infusion for myself. And then finally they said, okay, the world is ready. And it's time for you to start telling people about this, because it's very important that people start using the 7th dimensional light infusion to help adjust themselves, to help heal themselves, and to help get themselves lined up so that they can bring in a new golden age of time. So in a much more balanced way than it was, because I was being shown that even back in the times of Lemuria, it wasn't necessarily balanced like what we think it was, like maybe towards like the end of the times of Lemuria before the Lemurians left. It was very like the masculine and the divine masculine and the divine feminine were not really balanced very well, and so they're hoping and they're trying to help us so that when we go into this new golden age of time, that we will do it in a much more balanced way, and we will bring the divine masculine along with us. And this time there won't be this unbalance. that was occurring back in that time. So after I had the whole healing chamber experience, and a little time went on, and during 2020, I started working a lot with my crystal, and I started doing some channeling, like automatic writing. And during that time, I was taught a lot of things about Lemuria, the inner earth beings, and they actually took some time to teach me how to take everybody in to run this light infusion and like the right way to do it and all of that. So everything that I'm going to be telling you is all channeled through my vessel, I guess, through the automatic writing. And sometimes I would have visions, and they wanted me to make sure that I explain to you that it's coming through in my filter. So just use your own discernment and use this information to help you figure out different things about Lemuria and about 7th dimensional light infusion and about inner earth beings. But keep an open mind and look at the threads. Like, whatever I say, if it doesn't ring true to you, just look at the threads of the things that do ring true to you and just go with that, and just keep an open mind is all I ask. So the actual information about Lemuria, there really isn't a lot of information out there that in our history books. It's almost like everything's been wiped clean, and most of the information that is out in the world is channeled information. So let's just get right into it. So Lemurians, the Lemurian world, a lot of people, they think that Lemuria existed kind of like over by, off the coast of like California, over towards like Brazil, off from Hawaii, and Hawaii was part of it, and that it kind of like all sank down into the ocean. But what I have been being shown is that Lemuria was very different, and it was a time. So it was like time over the whole of the earth, not just like in one like land formation on the earth. It was like all over the earth, and that's what I'm understanding about it. It was more of a time than it was a land formation. And Lemuria, at the time that Lemuria happened, the land formations were different because of evolution and how like, after like millions and millions of years, as we know, the earth kind of shifts, and sometimes things go underwater and other things come up, and the land formations are just not necessarily in the same places. And so when I was getting this information from Alana, she was explaining that it was different. It was the land was different. Like America wasn't where it is now. Like it wasn't even America back then. So it was all of the world. And so then we get down to about the Lemurian crystals. And we hear an awful lot of people speaking about the Lemurian crystals. And a lot of people will say to you that Lemurian crystals only exist in these mines in Brazil. And I think there's Argentina. There's like some areas there where they say that they're like the official Lemurian crystals. But I asked this question during a QHHT type of setting to my higher self, and I wanted to know, like, are only the crystals from Brazil, are they the only ones that seem to work? Because I was using crystals in like the crystal gazing and different things that I was doing, and they seemed to work, and I just didn't understand why they had to be quote unquote bought from this one place. And so I asked this question, and the answer was that no, this is a human construct that we put on things. Humans like to take ownership of things, and they like to take control of things. And so somewhere along the line, somebody decided to tell everybody that the only good crystals that you can get that are Lemurian come from this mine in Brazil, because somebody was making some money off from it, okay? And so that's basically what I learned about the crystals. And so I just want to just show you what a Lemurian crystal is compared to like a regular quartz crystal. So Lemurian crystals are made, they're quartz, okay? And they're usually they come in all different sizes, and most of them come, and they're not pretty. They're kind of cloudy, and they show like all kinds of like things in them, but they all have like these barcodes, I call them. Like you can see they're like etched in the sides of the crystals, kind of like barcodes down here. Every time you turn it around, there's barcode. Some of them are key holders, some of them they have different names to them, but like they can be all different sizes. This one is my Lemurian, and it's got the codes going down on this side and this side, and then underneath it, and then there's like this fuzzy bit that kind of comes up around the top of this, and you can see like it's cloud, like it's not. My crystal is straight and kind of like has like a, I don't know what you want to call it. It has like a straight line going down here, all the way down here, and then it gets down here, and then there's this like area that it's like all kind of like broken. I think it kind of got broken off. It was a point of some sort off from a bigger cluster or something, and so like all of this is just kind of like that, and you'll see that on a lot of them. Like this one's kind of a little chubby one, and it also has the bottom where it's kind of like all broke off. This one looks like this one was broke off, and it wasn't broke off in the same way. Somebody probably cut that off, because that one is a little bit different. It's almost like it's a piece or broken half or something. And this one was very different, because this one, they said it was a Lemurian crystal. It doesn't really have very strong lines on it. It has a little bit of line on it. And then some of these, this one right here, this one was taken out of the Arkansas mines. And this one also has the same code things on them, the same lines. Isn't that interesting? It came not from that mine in Brazil. But this one is kind of the same way. Looks like it's kind of cloudy, and it has like all the broken stuff. This one to me looks like a Lemurian crystal. And then there was another one from the Arkansas mines. This one's kind of like a baby one. And this one has like a notch in here. That's like a key holder. That holds some kind of a key inside of there. And so basically that's what a Lemurian crystal is like. And they don't have to be clear. They can be kind of pink. They can be orange. They can be all different colors. They don't have to be exactly the way I'm just showing you right now. Lemurian crystals will work. And also for crystal gazing and stuff like that, all crystals will work. Like if you are called to a crystal, to work with a crystal, it will work for you. Crystals are very high vibrational. Very high vibrational. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about with the crystals and the Lemurian crystals, and specifically for people, just to help you out. And then when we actually do running 7th dimensional light infusion, we use the crystals from the main hub of the earth, and then we have our own crystal in our hand. But if you don't actually have a crystal, you can also just use the crystal that's right in the earth, the main hub of a crystal. It doesn't have to be like when you come for the 7th dimensional light infusion, that you have to have this like very expensive crystal in order to like do this. So what they had showed me was like when Lemuria started to become more dense, and they started to become more like humanoid, more carbon based. Before they started going into the carbon base, there was a time when these crystal skulls were left behind right before the, like, I guess if you want to call it when Lemuria fell, because it didn't really actually fall, it just went through this cycle. There's these golden ages of time, and it had its time and it went through its cycle, and again, like, it will come back again. This cycle of Lemuria, the cycle of like beings being the way that they were in the times of Lemuria, it will come back again. It will come around. And this is what we're working on when we're working on ascension. We're working on going into the next golden age. And at the moment, we're moving into the golden age that is really close to be like the time in Lemuria, where we're striving as the humans to go back to this crystalline base that we used to be. And so what happened was when Lemuria decided to, when they knew that it was starting to become more dense, and they knew that the world was changing, they started, there was some of the, I guess you would want to call them, some of the masters of Lemuria, they left their crystal skulls behind, and they hold the Akashic records of Lemuria. They hold all of everything that happened during the time of Lemuria, and they're very precious. And the beings that decided to stay on the earth, some of them went to the inner city of light. They went into the inner earth. And they took these crystal skulls with them. And to this very day, they're still holding these skulls in protection, so that because it holds everything. It holds all of the records inside of them. So before the Lemurians actually came to live on the earth plane, they came from the Pleiades star system, and they were seeded from there. The original Lemurians were an ethereal race of beings that appeared like a humanoid type of body, but more astral and transparent. They could hold a high frequency of their light body and travel without being inhibited in their physical body. Their Merkaba was totally and completely intact. They were able to use their Merkaba to go around and experience in other planes of existences while still living here on the earth. At this time, the earth itself was more ethereal in nature. And as the earth became denser, this form changed and evolved throughout time. At one point, the physical body of the Lemurian held a more crystalline base, like what I was just explaining. The original Lemurian race lived very close with nature. And at this time, the Earth's vibration and frequency was so high, the elements within its ecosystem they were so balanced that there was no death or deterioration to the beings. They experienced no pain, no fear, and no suffering or death. They lived thousands and thousands of years, and they only left if they decided that they wanted to leave. It wasn't like they got a disease and they died. They literally decided, okay, I've experienced all that I want to experience in this realm of existence, and I think it's time for me to like go do something else. And so then they just basically let themselves go. And it's not a big deal. And they lived thousands and thousands of years, and some of them are still here. They're still living in the inner earth cities of light. And then other ones decided to go on to other planets and other star systems and experience life in a different way. And some of them came in to be humans. And they went through the path of like the whole karma thing and all the stuff that we're doing right now in our time. And they lived in Atlantis, and they lived after Atlantis, and they're living in the biblical times, and some of them are still living in this time. And that's why some people feel connected to these Lemurian beings, because they have aspects from Lemuria, but they're still here now. Their part of that soul is still with them, and they're living here, living out what we're living now. And some people have come back so that they can help with the new golden age of time. And most everybody that's even listening to this class, most of you are those are beings that came from Lemuria, because you wouldn't be interested in this if you didn't have some connection. Okay, during the time that Lemurians ascended into the earth plane, the earth itself was transformed and changed its frequency due to an alchemical composition of all of its elements. The matter became denser, and the Pleiadian DNA evolved into a more humanoid form. Their bodies started to change through this time. This is when they started using light infusion to help keep their frequency levels so they would not sustain illness. But little by little, the Earth's frequency became denser and denser. And this is when they decided to encode the crystals to hold the knowledge of how they once lived without fear, pain, suffering, and death, for a time when the Earth's cycle would change again. This is what we are now learning from working with these crystals. Literally, how to live in a higher frequencies so we can once again hold a crystalline-based body and light body. This will take thousands of years to obtain this type of body on Earth. And it might not happen just like that. We have been working, and some of us have been working on it for thousands and thousands of years. We've been working on bringing our vibration up to where it's at today. And it's just going to keep taking time to move up. There is no race to the finish line. It's going to happen when it happens. And it will happen. And every single person will experience it in their own different way. And so whatever way it happens for you is the way it happens for you. And other people will have things happen in a different way. So just be kind to people and try to hold space for them as they move forward and they change and evolve. So now we're just going to talk a little bit about the inner earth beings and what they're like, and about their cities of light, where they're located. So inner earth beings are not just the Lemurians. There are other beings coming from different star systems, I believe, that are also there. But mostly it is the Lemurian energy, the Lemurian type of people that are still living on the inner earth. And they live in the cities of light, which are located on or around the different earth chakra points. There's literally portals that go into the inner earth. And these cities, from what I see whenever I'm taken into them, it's like everything glows inside of there. It's like the movie Avatar, with all of like the bugs that kind of like come down, like the little octopus, I don't know, they're like little jellyfish thingies that kind of come down from the sky or whatever, and the trees light up just like you see in the movie Avatar. It's just like the huts and stuff, like I call them huts. They're like dome shaped buildings where they live, and it's beautiful, but it just feels like everything glows and everything is so high vibrational and very, like translucent and crystalline, and it's very beautiful. And the inner earth beings, the ones that I have come across, they have like a blue hue to them. They have little sparkles of light kind of going through their arms and stuff, just like what you see like with the avatars from the movie Avatar. And they're very beautiful, very tall, and they're very close to nature. They're very high vibrational. And when you come to the cities of light, the Star Mothers are there, and they protect you with the crystal skulls. They're protecting the crystal skulls, but they're also helping you to get kind of like initiated into the place. And so when we run light infusion, we go into the inner earth cities of light, and we use the inner earth healing chambers, when we're doing this. And so that's really all I really have to say about the inner earth beings, and the inner earth realm. It's there to keep, it's mainly still there to keep this high vibration on the earth, to hold that, because the earth, from what I was understanding, is actually already holding this vibration. It has been since it's been here, and it holds all the vibrations. And the reason why we're not seeing the higher vibrations, the 5th, 6th, 7th dimensions, is because we are not vibrating at the speed to be able to experience that. It's almost like we don't have the right telescope or whatever, the right somethings to be able to see this dimension too. And as we raise our vibration, we will be able to start experiencing this type of living, this type of higher vibration on a more regular basis. And as you ascend, you'll be able to hold it longer and longer and longer, until, from what I understand, then you'll just all of a sudden walk in. At the moment, we're just having one foot here and one foot here. And we're basically kind of like staying over here. And some of us are spending more time over here, but we're not able to hold it all the time. And eventually there will be kind of like a shift happening. And I think this is when people talk about the shift. I think it's just a shift when all of a sudden you just shift right over to that, and then you're no longer having one foot in one frequency and the other one in the other frequency or vibration. So when we start running the 7th dimensional light infusion, every time that you do this, you're going to get your frequency is going to start changing, your vibration is going to start changing. And the more you run 7th dimensional light infusion on yourself or in a group, the more you're going to be able to kind of like more hold your pillar of light more. You're going to be able to bring in more light, and that's how you will start like being able to vibrate at a different level, like your home vibration, your vibration of that home. Like I was talking about earlier in another class, or I was talking about earlier when I was feeling like I just wanted to be home. I just like didn't want to be in the lower densities and all that kind of stuff. And I feel at home when I'm in the healing chambers, when I'm in the inner earth cities of light, because the vibration, I feel at home. That's like my home vibration. That's where I vibrate at. And in order to vibrate at that, you need to take time. It's like a spiritual practice, and you need to take time to meditate and go in and allow yourself to run this energy. And so when we do a Lemurian Pleiadian Starseed Circle, we're running it in a group. And so we're running this energy and we're amplifying it, and we're doing this. But you can do this by yourself every day as well. And I have on my website, I have I guess it's like a procedure. It takes you in, it's like a meditative procedure where I take you into the inner earth cities of light. We connect to the cosmic heart first, and then we go in, and you then go in and you do this initiation ceremony, and then you do a purifying, cleansing ceremony, and then we go into the inner earth healing chambers, and I help you you receive light infusion while you're in there. And so I have that on my website, and robinnicole.eu is where it's at. And you can go in there into underneath Robin Nicole's library of spiritual tools, and there's like these procedures under there, and a couple of them are with just light infusion. So definitely go in, and you can do that until you can bring yourself right in there, because I'm doing it to help you start going into the inner earth city, going into your healing chamber, running the light infusion. But after a while, you'll be able to do this on your own, and you won't need to like go through all the steps just to go in there. You can just all of a sudden do some deep breathing, and boom, you're in the healing chamber, and the light infusion is running on you. But until you're able to do that, go ahead and use it. It's there for you to use, and you can use it as many times as you want, as many like days in a row. You don't have to stop. You can do it every day if you want. And so when we're doing this, we go in, we connect to our heart, we connect to the cosmic heart, and then I take you in and I do this, like, I guess it's called I call it the washing machine procedure. So you go in and you meet your unicorn first, and the unicorn is holding the 7th dimensional frequency, and the unicorn also is kind of protective over that frequency. And so you get a chance to meet your unicorn guide and look the guide into the eyes and stroke your unicorn and everything, and have some time with your unicorn. And then after that, we go through, it's kind of like if you can picture it's like a cylinder, like a washing machine, like the inside of the washing machine, and there's like layers of like crystals, and they all have like the chakra colors. The crystals, they all have something that represents the chakra colors, and they're kind of like little bands inside this washing machine wall. And you end up having like a washing machine bath. Like you end up, all of your chakras get washed, and the procedure then begins to open you up so that you can match the frequency of the 7th dimensional frequency. It helps you open up to the light infusion if you're used to not being at that frequency. And so I do that for people so that you can get up there, and so that you can hold it during the time that we're running it. And then afterwards, we do a little bit extra grounding so that you can ground back down in. But after a while, if you do this a lot, you will automatically be vibrating at the 7th dimensional level. And so you won't have to go through the washing machine procedure every single time to receive light infusion. And then when we get past that, then we do go into the inner earth, and we meet the Star Mothers, and we sit by, it's like a fire pit, and we meet the Star Mothers, and they pass around the crystal skull. And at the same time, you'll hear me singing the peace song. It's the Lemurian peace song, and it's meant to be sung during that time. And you hold when the crystal skull gets passed to you, you hold it in your hands like etherically, and you're in meditation. So you hold the crystal skull in your hands, and you look into the eyes of the crystal, and you allow the codes to come into you. Any of the DNA blueprinting, anything that of your time back in Lemuria, anything that you need to know, you will be then given it during the initiation. And you might not even know what it is, and sometimes you might. And then when we get done with that, then we go over and they take us to the healing pools. And we go in and we basically get washed by the crystalline waters, and wash away the density. Wash away, it's like a ritual cleansing. And we get purified and ready to go into the healing chambers. And then we put on a big white fluffy robe and some slippers, and we go over, and they put some anointing. The guides will anoint you with rose and lavender oil all over your skin. And then we walk over to the healing chambers. And the healing chambers are pyramid. They look like a pyramid, and they're clear. You can kind of you feel like they're see-through, but you can't see anything when you're looking from the outside. You can't see anybody inside of there. And it's kind of opaque. And you basically walk through the wall. There's no door. You just step through, and inside of the healing chambers there is a crystal bed. And so you lay on the crystal bed, and there's a Lemurian crystal starseed, I cannot say this, a Lemurian seed crystal on the bed waiting for you. And you can use that one, or if you have your own crystal with you, you can use that as well. And you get on the nice cozy crystal bed, because it's got a mattress on it and everything, and it's nice and cozy, and like hand woven blankets and stuff, and it's got pillows and everything. And you get on that. And if you're doing this in a group setting, when you go in to the healing chambers with your group, there's one person that lays on the bed, and then the rest of them sit around the outside of the bed in crystal chairs, and they hold their crystal, and they put that crystal towards you. But what we're doing it, like if you're doing it on like a Zoom or whatever, when we're doing it, you're just pointing it towards the person that is on the bed, and just trusting that it's amplifying their energy. And then when we start running the infusion, anything can happen. You never know what is going to happen. You might find that you will be getting like rejuvenation, cellular repair, and regeneration. They might be working on your light body. They might be helping you with some kind of DNA blueprinting or upgrades, activations. You might be merging with like higher aspects of your spiritual guidance team. Every single time you run this, it could be different. Now, when you first start running this, some people can feel like, because the energy is very high, and some people can feel a little bit lightheaded, a little bit dizzy, maybe even nauseous when they're first running this. And so if this happens to you, just know that we just need to do some extra grounding when it's time to come out of it, and that nothing bad is happening. It's just kind of your body getting used to this high vibration. And if it's not used to it, you will feel like some kind of ascension symptoms. And when this happens, you need to drink plenty of water afterwards and get plenty of rest. But please let me know. Like, if you're coming to my circle and you're feeling a little bit dizzy before you leave, don't just go off the computer and just not let me know that you are feeling these ascension symptoms. Please let me know so that I can help you ground a little bit more. And also, when you do this, sometimes you might need to have like extra grounding and have some chocolate, like some dark chocolate or whatever you have there. Have it ready for you. After you do this, you might need to have a little bit of chocolate, or you might need to eat a really nice, good, hearty meal. Okay, just to kind of ground yourself in. And sometimes after you run light infusion, if you had a huge upgrade, and sometimes you actually can be shown some shadow work. You can be shown like the core of like something that you're going through, like the reason why, and you could be shown like something happening. That's for you so that you can let go of it. So they're showing it to you so that you can let go of it and move on. So shadow work can also appear when you're running light infusion. And so just be kind to yourself, because like sometimes after I've run a lot of light infusion, I have taken in so many upgrades that I need a rest and I just can't do anymore. And sometimes you just need to sleep. And sometimes I could sleep for Ireland. There's days when I could just sleep away as the upgrades are running through me. So as you're integrating and stuff. So just be mindful if you're running this a lot and all of a sudden you're feeling like you're not feeling well because you're just like being kind of like bombarded with too much light. Know when you've had enough. And if the light is feeling too strong, if you're having light infusion happening to you and it's starting to feel too strong, definitely just ask the guides to please tone it down a little bit. That you still want it, but just kind of like maybe not so much. Just tone it down a little bit, because my body is having a hard time taking this in. And we're all human. And so that's basically what happens. And then so when you're running it in a group, you're getting a lot more. It's even more amplified. So when you're running in a group, you might feel a little bit more than you would if you're just running it by yourself. And then afterwards, if you're doing this by yourself, you need to get like a notebook or something, and you need to write down like what is happening when you're running this light infusion and what is coming to you. Sometimes you might be shown a lifetime, and they're showing it to you for a reason. So you need to write and document whatever happened during your light infusion time. And then when we're running it in a group, other people will be giving you feedback. They will be telling you what happened while you were on the table and while you were on the crystal bed table, I'm calling it. And they will be telling you like what happened or what they saw happen when the light infusion was running over you. Take all of what they're saying and all of what happened for you and make sure you document it. And just keep the documentation, because you might forget afterwards, and it's really good to journal after you've done light infusion. And then when we're doing this in a circle, we kind of take turns and we go back and forth. And then when it's all over with and everybody's had their light infusion, then we run a little bit of light infusion for the earth. And so we thank our guides for coming and all of that. And before we close out the circle, we run, I think it's about 3 minutes or so, we run light infusion towards the earth and its inhabitants, whatever needs it. And then we close it out for the day. And so I just wanted to tell people that you don't need to go through all of the steps every single time after you've been doing it for a while. You can just allow yourself to go right into your healing chamber and run this light infusion. And the more that you run this light infusion, the more balanced you will feel. And the reason why I'm doing the Lemurian Pleiadian Starseed Circle, it's happening once a month, is because it's very intense. It's very good for us to run this in a group because it's amplified even more. And at least if you don't sit down and do it on yourself every day or like through the month or whatever, at least you're taking time for yourself to run this light infusion at least once a month. And so after you have taken this class, then you can be invited to be a member in the regular Lemurian Pleiadian Starseed Circles and come and run light infusion once a month. And that is how it works. And so now I'm going to give you a chance to experience the light infusion for yourself, and make sure that you write down afterwards what you experienced during this light infusion and enjoy it. And if this resonates with you, definitely contact me, and you can then start becoming a member. It's not very expensive, and you can become a member of this light infusion and run this on a regular basis and meet other people who are also doing the same thing. And then we can all help each other vibrate that just a little bit higher and move ourselves up and up and up to the next vibration, the next frequency, the next ascended level, I guess was what people want to call it. So that is the class, and that is all the information that I have for 7th Dimensional Light Infusion. Let's take a moment to listen to your breath. Take a deep breath in and breathe it out. As we continue our breathing, we want to focus our breath into our heart chakra. Inhale and allow it to fill your heart chakra. Exhale and allow it to match the frequency of love. Allow your exhale to be filled with love. Take a deep breath in and allow it to fill your heart chakra. Breathe it out and allow it to match the frequency of love. Allow your exhale to be filled with love. Take a deep breath in and allow it to fill your heart chakra. Breathe it out and allow it to match the frequency of love. Allow your exhale to be love-filled. The frequency of your breath now is fully aligned to love. Feel the space around you full of love. Off to the distance, a brilliant white unicorn appears to be walking towards you. As the unicorn comes closer, you are able to reach out and touch its nose. If you would like, you can begin to stroke the unicorn. Feel the soft, silky fur, the long, flowing mane. The unicorn bows down in front of you and allows you to look directly into its eyes. Take this time to speak to the unicorn telepathically. Does it have a message for you today? Or is it here to tell you its name? This is your unicorn guide. The unicorn would like you to ride with her today to a very special place, to the rainbow realm. Hop on its back and allow her to take you to her realm. We are at the unicorn realm, and you are brought to a place that holds a room shaped like a cylinder. Step inside. The walls of the cylinder are stacked with tube-like bands. They are clear tubes which hold different kinds of crystals in each tube. The bottom tube holds red jasper crystal chips floating in water and represents the root chakra. The next tube up holds orange cornelian crystal chips floating in water and represents the sacral chakra. The next tube holds yellow citrine crystal chips floating in water and represents the solar plexus chakra. The next tube up holds green adventurine crystal chips floating in water and represents the heart chakra. The next tube up holds blue lapis lazuli crystal chips floating in water and represents the throat chakra. The next tube up holds purple amethyst crystal chips floating in water and represents the third eye chakra. And the last tube up on the top holds white clear quartz crystal chips floating in water and represents the crown chakra. The tubes full of crystal begin to spin around you like a washing machine. As it spins faster and faster, your chakras are cleansed fully from any dense energy or blocks you may have in your body and in your auric field. Allow the crystals to spin around you and clean and clear you. You are now clear and clean, and your chakras are aligned. The cylinder falls away, and you find yourself in a drying room. The walls of the room are made of silver metallic type of crystal called stibnite. This crystal works to help adjust your frequency to receive higher frequencies of light, and to help you acclimate seventh dimensional frequencies, which is a much higher vibration of that which you hold in your world. There is a bench made of selenite to help open you up to the higher chakras, the soul star chakra, the causal chakra, the stellar gateway, the earth star chakra, and the holy grail point. You will be using all of these chakra points during the light infusion today. Allow the drawing room to activate and open you up to seventh dimensional frequencies. And we bring in your higher self team to hold you in the light today. It's time to connect to the cosmic heart of the universe. See, sense, or feel ultimate love. The ultimate love frequency emanating from the cosmic heart. Feel it beating until you become one with the heartbeat. Now that you are fully in line with the cosmic heart of the universe, a deep purple tunnel appears in front of you. It is a portal to the inner earth city of light. When you go close into it, it looks like a covered slide that you would have used as a child in the playground. Jump in and slide down into the inner earth city of light. The full landscape appears before you, and you see everything in this city glows. It is so beautiful. It's so shimmery. And it feels so warm and cozy and inviting. You are guided over to a fire pit circle where the Star Mothers are gathered. As you move over to the fire pit, you are given a log to sit on next to others who are there with you today. It is time for an initiation into the circle, into the Star Mother circle, so that you can engage in healing, in light infusion today, just as they did back in the times of Lemuria. To do this, the Star Mothers begin to pass the crystal skull around the circle. It passes from one to another, and each person, each being sitting in the circle, sits with the skull. As the skull passes over to you, lower your face to look into the skull. To feel its love, for it to start flowing knowledge and technology and mysteries into your vessel. And thank it for being with you today by giving it a kiss before handing it over to the person beside you. This crystal skull holds the DNA blueprints, the mysteries, and Akashic records of all that has occurred on the earth from the time it began to the now moment. Once everybody here today has held the crystal skull, you are led to the warm, shimmery, crystalline-filled healing pools. Each of them lights up just as everything here lights up and glows. The water is warm, but not too hot. It's perfect to submerge your body into it. You wash away the old you, and any density you may have from your time here on earth. Allow the water to wash over you, Dip yourself in. Pour it over your face, your head, and drink it if you wish. And after you are fully clean, fully cleansed, and fully purified, the Lemurian Star Mothers begin to rub lavender and rose oil over your flesh. And you are given a fluffy white robe and slippers. You are now ready to enter the sacred healing chambers. There is a pyramid-shaped crystal clear healing chamber off to the side of the healing pools. The walls of the chamber are made of a material where you do not have on the earth, in your time, in your area, in your place, in your vibration, in your density area. You do not have to open the doorway to enter. You simply step in through the wall. And you see there are the most beautiful looking sun catchers made with all kinds of crystal prisms hanging from the ceiling and the walls. As the light from the inner earth globe catches these prisms, a display of rainbows spin around throughout the room. And there are candles hanging everywhere, along with hanging medicinal plants of all kinds. There is a crystal bed in the middle, topped with fluffy pillows and hand-woven silky blankets, along with a Lemurian Star Seed crystal for you to hold. Get comfortable on the bed and point the Lemurian seed crystal to your heart. If you have a physical crystal in your hand. Or visualize roots coming out from the crystal bed, and these roots moving down into the main crystal cluster located inside the earth. Now you allow the infusion of light to wash over you. Trust that you will be given exactly what you need, and relax. Take note of anything you see, sense, or feel while this occurs. Whatever healing you may need today will come through exactly the right way that it is meant to. Trust and relax and sit with the love that is pouring itself upon you. You can now begin to crystal gaze. By simply gazing into your crystal and see if it is showing you something. Sometimes your crystal, when you are working with it in this way, will emanate colors, and you may see images in the crystal. Whatever you see is what is right for you. Whatever you sense is what is right for you. Take time to gaze into your crystal. It is time now to thank the Lemurian healing, the Lemurian energies, the Lemurian Star Mothers for the energy and the light infusion that you received today. Anytime you receive a Lemurian healing, take time to document what came through for you today. Document anything you saw, felt, or sensed. All that happened during your healing may not make sense to you today, and you may feel the need to go back and look at the documentation at a later time.